I'm David from 52 Churches in 52 Weeks. During my church visits, to put it bluntly, I bump into some strange stuff that don't quite fit in with my church visits, but it's so peculiar, I still want to make this side quest video just to touch base on it. So if you want a really good religious mystery that will really take you down the rabbit hole, you'll want to check this out. So I had a few requests to go visit the I Am Temple in downtown Chicago. Somehow there's this 12-story building just blocks away from the Willis Tower, standing there with very little known about it. So I made plans to go visit this for my week 30 visit. And the night before, I'm trying to figure out what the service time is, what to wear, but I couldn't find any website, no service times, no operating hours, no social media, just nothing online that gave me a whole lot of information. So I got there and I'm looking up at this building and I'm just wondering to myself, how is this here? To afford this type of real estate in Chicago has to be extremely expensive, and there's no visitors. So I was taking a look around, and first off, I was joined by a pigeon. I don't know if, I want to call him Phil the pigeon. I don't know if it's Philip or Phyllis, we're just going with Phil. And Phil had no personal space. So he was checking this out with me at the front door, and then he got way too close to me, and then I think he found some bread and just went another direction. But these window displays were just so intriguing in terms of what everything with the I Am Temple is supposed to be about. So I saw these portraits and pictures of Jesus Christ next to the Bill of Rights. They have American flags up, and then they also had this big portrait of Jesus, and at his feet was this purpley glow coming up. And they also had the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. When I saw that, I'm wondering, is Nick Cage inside? Is this some kind of national treasure thing going on? This is a really bad attempt at a joke. Anyway, I'm going to move on. And they also had this literature and these hymns, I Am, and then there was also something about follow your heart. And the heart of discernment kind of kicked in for me as I saw that, because with follow your heart, in scripture, it's, trust in the Lord with all your heart, not necessarily follow your own heart. But yeah, it just left me very curious. What was this? They didn't have any invitation for visitors, and the only signs that they had up was for delivery drivers to ring a bell. But when I looked inside, the door was locked. They had a front desk with an American flag behind it, if I remember correctly. But I didn't see anything else to indicate that someone else was inside, and I just didn't feel comfortable buzzing in. This all left me very perplexed when I got home. So I want to understand what exactly the I Am movement was. So with I Am, that is a direct quotation from Exodus, when God appears to Moses in the burning bush with that I am who I am. So that's where the name comes from, if I understand correctly. And the religion was founded in the 1930s by Guy and Enna Ballard. And apparently Guy had been very heavily influenced from writings of theosophy, especially from a Russian mystic. And I'm getting all this information from Wikipedia, so I'm going to do the work for you on this video. So with Guy, apparently he was trying to almost search for this holy grail of perfection in human beings. And he was out hiking in Mount Shasta in California, and that's where he claims to have met Saint Germain. And Saint Germain was an ascended master. And Saint Germain said that Guy would be his messenger, and then kind of started quoting, and Guy would write down Saint Germain's teachings, and then he basically got this publishing company, and then he would write out all the books and send those out to people. So the following grew really rapidly in the 1930s, and I guess at one point, there should have been about 1 million followers from what sources claim on this. So eventually Guy Ballard, he passed away right before the turn of the decade in December 1939, and Enna and his son got convicted of mail fraud. So the religion kind of fell apart after that. But it kind of got me thinking too, where it's like, what exactly, how does this link with Jesus Christ? The understanding is with Saint Germain, he was this ascended master. And with Jesus Christ, he was also an ascended master because he was able to prove it through the resurrection and the ascension. He had this Christ light that could defeat darkness. Like with these spiritual beings, you could be this reincarnation where you could still live beyond the physical body and live eternally in this spiritual body. So Guy Ballard claimed to be this reincarnation of George Washington, an Egyptian priest, and a French musician. Guy Ballard learned Saint Germain played a heavy influence in the writing of the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, all these other type of documents for the founding of the United States. I guess he was buddy-buddy with George Washington and Benjamin Franklin. So that's strange. So I want to understand, okay, who exactly then is Saint Germain? Like, I don't know anything about who this guy is. Going into the rabbit hole, so Saint Germain apparently is derived from this guy from the 1700s called the Count of Saint Germain. He was this very rich adventurer in Europe that I guess specialized in alchemy and science and the arts. But nobody knew his background. He was a complete mystery to people. So when he was about to pass away, he mentioned that he was the son of the Prince of Transylvania. So with Transylvania, and like, I don't know about you, but the first thing that I think about is vampires. And the way that they term with this Saint Germain is he is an eternal being. So his physical self died, or maybe he faked the death. There's conflicting, I don't even know if it's conflicting. It's just very strange. So with this Saint Germain, there is talk that he could be something called the Wandering Jew. So there is this folklore from the crucifixion. When Jesus Christ was about to be crucified, there was this Jew or Gentile that was cursing out Jesus. And as a result, he was cursed himself to live forever until the second coming of Christ. He basically became a new Cain. And so they're thinking this Count of Saint Germain may be the Wandering Jew. And over that time, he has accumulated just tons and tons of wealth and is still living. Ascended Master. So as I did more digging into who this guy was, apparently they also have some reincarnations from past figures that they believe became Saint Germain. I don't understand how that works with Wandering Jew, because all these people were the majority of them were after the crucifixion. But the list that Wikipedia listed is he's a reincarnation from a high priest of Atlantis, Samuel from the Old Testament, Plato, Joseph, the stepdad and guardian of Jesus Christ, various philosophers and poets, and Merlin the Wizard. So, yeah. So I don't really know what to make out of all that. And again, the strange thing is, with this Count of Saint Germain, apparently from Transylvania, like, it's crazy, but at the same time, it's like they couldn't really explain how he could afford all of his wealth and his education. And it's like you get looking at this I Am Temple, and it's kind of the same thing in today's day and age, where you're looking up at this temple. How does anybody afford this building in downtown Chicago, 12 stories high? Nobody's coming in. Nobody's walking out. It's not open to the public. And it's just there. It's just very mysterious. So, yeah, that's this video. But if you got any comments, feel free to leave those below, because this is a head scratcher, and I didn't click the buzzer. Like, I'm going to stay in my own lane on this one.